Parliamentary Service Amendment Bill, third reading.
Call on Government Order of the Day number 3.
Electoral Referendum Bill, third reading.
Mr. Speaker.
Honourable Simon Power.
Mr. Speaker, I move that the Electoral Referendum Bill be now read a third time. Mr. Speaker, this bill fulfils the government's pre-election promise to hold a referendum on MMP. It offers New Zealanders another chance to have their say on the voting system. After 5 elections under the MMP system, National was of the view that it was time for voters to consider whether the system was working for them. The bill provides an indicative referendum on the voting system to be held with the 2011 general election. Voters will be asked if they would like to keep MMP, and if New Zealand were to change to another voting system, which of the 4 alternatives they would prefer. The alternative voting systems are first past the post, preferential voting, single transferable vote, and supplementary member. If there is a vote to keep MMP, the Electoral Commission will review MMP and report on whether any changes are necessary or desirable. If voters opt for change, this government is committed to holding a second binding referendum with the 2014 general election. Voters will then be asked to choose between MMP and the most preferred alternative voting system from the first referendum. If the majority of voters prefer the alternative voting system in 2014, the new system will be implemented in time for the 2017 general election. This approach is similar to the staged process in 1992 and 1993 that resulted in the introduction of MMP for the 1996 general election. This process is lengthy, but the alignment of the referenda with general elections is designed to maximise participation from the electorate on such a constitutionally significant issue. There also needs to be sufficient time for public debate and to ensure that the legislative framework for the alternative voting system, if required, is robust prior to a second referendum. Mr. Speaker, once again I would like to express my appreciation for the work done on the All-Party Electoral Legislation Committee, to acknowledge the membership of that committee and acknowledge the many submitters on this bill. I'm very grateful for the constructive way that all parties in the House have approached this matter. That cooperation has been in keeping with the constitutional significance of this legislation, which should not be underestimated. Mr. Speaker, as I said in my first reading speech, in New Zealand the triennial election of representatives to this House is arguably the most significant constitutional check on executive power. The decision as to how those votes are translated into seats is rightly one for the people to make. I commend this bill to the House.